California's other lockdown. Um, you're all aware, the COVID lockdown thing, and I admit I was in favor of the lockdown at the beginning, and I was in favor of people wearing masks at the beginning. I wasn't really too sure about it being mandatory, but um, uh, at the beginning, I thought there might be a chance to stop this thing, get it controlled. Obviously not. And I was in favor of people wearing quality N95 masks properly fitted, which, contrary to the myths and legends running around on the internet, do in fact um, filter out viruses. So, but that's not what's happened, of course. We didn't have a couple-week lockdown to beat it or to flatten the curve, which seemed very necessary so we can get overrun like they did in some European hospitals. Um, but although it turned out even that was unnecessary, because it turns out the European hospitals just don't have a lot of ICU beds and a lot of capacity, probably because they have socialized medicine. We never even got close to capacity anywhere here, not even in New York, really, um, because we have a for-profit medical system that is everywhere and omnipresent and massive. Um, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, obviously what we've done has not been a lockdown. It's been a dumb down. It hasn't made any sense at all. Not what I had in mind. Um, Silly me, I keep having faith in humanity. We'll pull together, we'll do this thing, and then we'll get back to normal. But it's not what happens, because A, we don't pull together real good, and B, you don't get back to normal if there's a government involved. It's kind of like a temporary tax, So I sort of feel like I voted for a temporary tax. How stupid. There's no such thing. Um, anyway, I'm only in my 60s. I'll learn. Sorry about that. But there's another lockdown going out here in California, to get back to my point, that isn't even being mentioned, and that is the fire lockdown. They, when we had some fires in the mountains up here above me, they closed every non-essential road, which is a lot of roads that connect different communities and stuff. They closed them all off so that they wouldn't have people in the way of their fire trucks, and they didn't want to risk people getting trapped by the fire and things like that. Makes sense, okay? But then they got the fires gone and the fires put out and all that kind of stuff, and they kept all the roads closed. The people who live in the mountain communities, picture a mountain chain. You have the roads that go up the mountains to the communities, and then you have roads that go between those communities and join them. All those between roads are closed. And then you have the roads that go over the mountain and go down into the Kern River Valley on the other side. Those are closed. You have to go all the way down around the mountain through Bakersfield to come up. And they've just kept them closed even after the fires were gone. And then they closed all these dirt access roads that used to go up into different hiking trails in different parts of the forest where you go hiking. All this stuff. And they just keep them closed, because if there aren't people up there, people won't start fires, and they won't have any more fires. And it's just too dangerous now. Just too dangerous right now. So they're not talking about it. It's not mentioned on the news or anything. It's nothing official, but we're having a fire lockdown. There's access to areas all over the state. The wilderness is shut off. And, they no doubt learned this thinking from the COVID lockdown. Oh, if we just don't let people do things, then won't have these problems, won't have those problems, won't have the other problems, But the problem is pretty soon, the only thing that people have to do is sit around and make videos and laugh at memes. And I don't know how long that can support an economy. A lot of these mountain communities, because there are no hikers, there's no backpackers and campers and stuff like that coming up, they're just getting crushed economically, and they're already small towns, dependent on that, summer trade. So they closed these roads in the winter, because they started closing them because it got too expensive to keep snow blowers and stuff like that up there. So they started closing them then, and now they've expanded to closing them in the summer because it's too hot and dry. Pretty soon, those roads will just fall to disrepair, and that'll be the end of it. Um, anyway, just kind of wanted to make you guys aware of that, and it's frustrating. I know my son is visiting from Texas. My son, the one with the brain thing, and thank you so much, everybody who kept him in your hopes and prayers. He is doing miraculously well, which is very rare with that sort of thing. But he got lucky in every possible way he could have. In fact, I'm going to do a video with him before he goes back to Texas. I want you guys to meet him. He's a great guy. He was in the oil industry and doing tech stuff. Um, he does he has a business degree, and he does spreadsheets and stuff related to that, programs and stuff. And when oil hit less than zero, what was it, minus $14 a barrel in Texas or whatever, they kind of eliminated his whole department. So um, he came out to take a little time off and visit. But anyway, I'm really wandering here this morning, aren't I? Maybe I should have had some wake up exercise before I started talking. Anyway, you guys have a good one. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to mention we have an expanded lockdown.